I said, shitty day, huh?
Not with you here. It just got better. Oh my god. Today I'll be talking about one of the DC Showcase shorts known as Death. Now I should note that I know very little about this lovely interpretation of Death, but I do know that she's from the Sandman series, created by Neil Gaiman. I've heard of the series, I even have the audiobooks, so I should definitely give it a listen to when I can. And I think there's also going to be a Netflix show? I'm pretty sure it is, it was like last year or something they announced it or something. I think they did? Anyway, let's get to the short. The short centers around a struggling artist named Vincent, who recently got fired from his job at Arkham Asylum. Which, honestly, that sounds like a stroke of luck if you ask me. I mean, can you imagine all kinds of things that you would see on a daily basis or nightly at Arkham Asylum? Like seeing Batman beat the shit out of some guys, or the Joker escaping again, unleashing hell on Gotham, or the amount of times that Arkham inmates just break out like it's nothing. I mean, there's gotta be some crazy stories you gotta tell your mates one day. Oh, you'll never guess who broke out of Arkham Asylum last night. Oh, who? The Joker again? Nope. Two-Face? Nope. The Condiment King. Yeah. It's gonna be extra spicy out there. Anyway, while Vince drinks away his sorrows, he is then encountered by one of his various internal demons that he deals with.
A life wasted chasing dreams that are always just beyond your reach.
You don't know anything about me!
What the hell, Vince?
Oof, maybe lay off the Jack Daniels, pal. That might do some numbers on you. But as he tries to smoke his troubles away, he is then met with a peculiar character.
Shitty day, huh? I said, shitty day, huh?
Wow. You're...
Well, he done better than me. I'd have been speechless. Like having my breath taken away. And this character being, of course, Death herself. And might I say, she looks gorgeous, honestly. She's got that gothic style going on. I like it. Maybe I can see Thanos' point. He tries to convey how he wants to capture her beauty on a canvas, but his demons kick in again with him assuming that she may misinterpret his words. But before he can explain, she then leaves. If losing his job isn't brutal enough, he's flunking on his studies in Gotham University and is having some rent issues as well. Meanwhile, in his apartment, he's surrounded by all of his internal demons, with having flashbacks to his past, from his old boss, his lecturer, his father, and his partner. As he lays back and takes his tobacco-filled breath, his life flashing before his eyes. That is until he hears some commotion outside his apartment and sees a familiar face.
I called the cops! You two better get the hell out of here!
You, didn't call the police, did you?
No, I don't even have a phone.
Well, I appreciate it anyway.
She picks up from the last conversation and asks to see his work, but most of them are unfinished. This only triggers Vincent's demons once again, creating self-doubt, his self-esteem diminishing, and being overly critical of himself. But Death manages to motivate and pinpoint exactly what's missing in his art.
Something perhaps you had once? And lost along the way?
When I was a kid, I'd spend hours all day on my bedroom floor drawing. It was like time just stopped.
Pure joy.
Yes.
And once he reveals his interest in her and wants to capture her beauty on canvas, she obliges and poses for him. Lucky bastard. And as he creates his newest piece, his demons one by one begin to fade away, with them desperately trying to break him down again to make sure he doesn't succeed, pursue what he wants, but to no avail and turn into embers. But once he's finished and admires his completed piece, he notices something's off.
It's still evening. How can that be? How?
We're standing in a place beyond time now, Vincent. It has no meaning. To the dead.
With him now realizing who the woman is, and while saddened with his early death, is somewhat glad even that he is able to leave something behind, something of worth value, for folk to know him for, his painting, his art, his passion. But as time resumes, his still lit cigarette drops and starts a fire in his apartment. with Vincent desperately trying to save the painting, with him even pleading to death to save the painting, not even asking for his own life to be spared. He then realizes something, which I'll get into later on in the video, and accepts his fate, and death escorts him to the afterlife. The short then ends with a close-up of Vincent's last imprint on this mortal coil. And that's the short. So, let's get down to my points. I thought the story was fine. The short basically just gives us a basic understanding of Vincent's struggles and what he's trying to pursue, try to be an artist to get his name out there, for his art to be, known to people. But he's also struggling to make a living, which is, a common thing for people with creative arts, isn't it? I mean, look at artists, actors, musicians, the basics. Like, we see how Vincent's life beforehand was almost relatively fine. He had a partner, he had a job, he was going to studies, but then slowly, as time went by, he started to lose those certain things close to him. His studies, his partner for years of dedication, and he just wasn't getting anywhere, which is unfortunately kind of real for certain creatives. Some people go into the creative field, it's a struggle. Like in the present, it's more dull, lifeless, just shadows everywhere, rain, almost completely, pinnacle of gloom. But in the flashbacks, we see more color, and, we see how it's all been sucked away from time. Which is an unfortunate thing in real life. Time slowly drains you, and time takes away things you love. And at some point, death will meet you, and will offer you a hand to lead you to your final destination. It can happen before you achieve your purpose, or after. Heck, even in between where you just started to find your purpose. Well, that got real for a second. That got real for a second. Very cheerful. Oh, Jesus. I'm fine, by the way. I am totally fine. I mean, the short is called Death. I mean, what did you expect? It's gonna be somewhat gloom and depressing. So, with the ending, when I initially seen it with no knowledge of the Sandman series, I thought that Death presented themselves to Vincent as a familiar face. That face being the drawing from when he was a child. That's why he'd be so interested, because there's something vaguely familiar, like he's seen her before. Some kind of connection there, I don't know, it was just a little something I thought up there. Though, I don't get why he reverts back to his younger self before moving on to the afterlife. But I guess it's due to some connection with the flashback of him as a child. Like, his moment of realization reverted him back to the time of pure joy and happiness, therefore accepting his fate. I don't know, if anyone knows what this means, please let me know. But the word gift is used particularly. Death mentions that Vincent has a gift, being his art. But then later on, Vincent begs her to grant him one last final gift. That gift being saving the painting. But then from his realization, from what I'm interpreting, it's either the supposed gift being his finished painting, being the imprint he leaves behind as a sign of his work and recognition. A final piece to the world before ascending to the afterlife, to his fate, written in the Book of Destiny, and led there by Death herself. Or the gift being his artistic skills itself. My money's on the first option. We mostly focus on Vincent and Death in the short, so for Vincent, I thought he was fine. Battling his demons, living in Gotham, that doesn't help either. I was interested in seeing how this journey goes, with the short being Death, Speaking of which, I was interested in this interpretation of Death here. I love her character design. I think she looks, again, gorgeous. I like the gothic design. Again, I don't know much about this version of Death, so for those who are in the know, who are more familiar with this character, let me know what I'm missing. Did I miss anything out? Please let me know. I thought the voice acting was fine. Leonardo Nam, as Vincent, does a great job, especially for the emotional points, like during near the end. Like, he really does sell it. And Jamie Chung as Death, she was fine. She did great. Everyone was fine for the most part. Some of the scores in this short I quite enjoyed. When Vincent meets Death for the first time, and when his apartment burns down, there were some scores that were actually quite nice. Like, I remember them, I was like, oh wow, this is quite impactful. Like, they hit those emotional chords that the scenes need. I thought the art design was fine, the animation was alright, nothing to really complain about personally. For this 18-minute short, we got to see the glooming setting of Gotham. Well, excluding the flashbacks of young Vincent in near the end, the colours in the short are very grey, lifeless, almost resembling Vincent's dwindling spark in his lifespan, and not to mention his mental state. But when we see the flashbacks in comparison, it's more enriching with life and colour. You know, so back when he was a child, he had that spark. Or maybe I might be reading too deep into it. That tends to happen. I should also add some highlights I noticed while watching the short. And as I said with each of Vincent's demons, I liked how they're all vaguely depicted from their shapes as specific people within Vincent's life. His old boss, his lecturer, his partner, and his dad. Adding in familiar shape and features, adding in root to the source to Vincent's struggles and doubts, with them seeping into Vincent's life when something resembling those certain demons crawl into his head. I do like the subtle hints of Death's, well, presence. Not the event, I mean the character. Whenever we see her on screen, she's either helping others cross over, or the event of Death itself, as shown in the short numerous times. Like how the bartender was talking about someone just dropped dead near the bar, who was meant to work there but then suddenly died. And also the two people who died near Vincent's apartment. And of course, Vincent himself. So my final thoughts, I thought the short was overall fine, and I kind of wanted to see more of this interpretation of Death. Like, I was more intrigued about her, and obviously I'd probably know more about this if I'd read the Sandman series itself, and I definitely should give it a try. Again, to those who know the series more than me, I would love to know your feedback on this character, or at least this interpretation. A tale with self-worth with a bittersweet ending. If you haven't seen it already, I would recommend you check it out for yourself. I just wanted more about Death herself. So, this has been Drew, those were my views, and I bid you adieu.